imperative that you get Ripley to trust you. She's familiar with the xenomorph, and we may need her help to bring one out alive.
Understood.
After the battlefield strategy of Command and Conquer Red Alert, we are moving into something much more personal and much more claustrophobic. No armies, no base building, no wide tactical maps. This time, it is just you, a weapon, and a series of dark corridors where every sound might mean danger is already close. This is Alien Trilogy, a first-person shooter based on the first 3 films of the Alien franchise. The game was developed by Probe Entertainment and published by Acclaim Entertainment. While it first appeared on PlayStation, the PC version for MS-DOS was released on November 30th, 1996. By the end of 1996, the first-person shooter genre had already gone through a major transformation. Doom had defined the formula. Quake had pushed technology forward, and players were starting to expect more than simple level design and fast shooting. Atmosphere, identity, and immersion were becoming just as important as gameplay itself. Alien Trilogy tries to fit into that space by focusing heavily on atmosphere. It combines the horror of the original Alien, the more action-oriented tone of Aliens, and the bleak industrial setting of Alien 3. Because of that, it aims to be more than just another shooter from the start. This was not the first game set in the Alien universe, but it was one of the first to seriously bring it into the mid-90s FPS formula. Instead of strictly recreating the events of the films, the game uses their themes, locations, and enemies to build its own campaign. You once again take on the role of Ellen Ripley, but the story itself plays more of a background role. The focus is on survival and exploration in environments overrun by aliens. That approach works well because it gives the developers more freedom to design levels and encounters. At its core, Alien Trilogy is a classic mid-90s shooter. The game is divided into 30 levels where you move through various environments. From colonies and industrial facilities to tighter, more claustrophobic interiors. You collect weapons, ammunition, and health packs, activate switches, unlock new areas, and fight your way through enemies. The arsenal fits the universe well, including the pulse rifle, shotgun, flamethrower, and heavier weapons. The pacing is not just about constantly moving forward. The game often forces you to slow down and stay alert. Enemies can appear suddenly, attack from unexpected angles, and certain situations require quick reactions. The facehugger in particular can catch you off guard, moving fast and low to the ground. The strongest aspect of the game is its atmosphere. Unlike many shooters of that era which focused mainly on action, this one puts just as much emphasis on tension. Dark corridors, limited visibility, distant sounds, and tight spaces make even quiet moments feel uneasy. The game builds tension gradually and then releases it with sudden enemy encounters. Instead of feeling in control, you often feel like you are being hunted. From a modern perspective, the controls can feel stiff. This comes from the fact that the game was created during a transitional period for FPS design, when many standards were still being established. After some time, it becomes manageable and the gameplay starts to feel consistent. The difficulty is clearly on the higher side. Enemies deal significant damage, and ambushes are frequent. The AI itself is not complex, but enemy placement and tight environments make encounters challenging. For 1996, the game looked solid. It was not a technological leap on the level of Quake, but it made up for it with atmosphere and art direction. The environments are dark, industrial, and very faithful to the tone of the films. Enemy models are distinct and recognizable, and the animations were considered impressive at the time. The developers promoted the use of motion capture, which was meant to give enemies more natural movement. Sound design is one of the strongest elements of the game. Alien sounds, footsteps, alarms, and environmental audio constantly build tension. More importantly, sound is not just background. It It often warns you about danger before you can see it. This forces you to stay alert and makes audio a key part of the gameplay. The music is used sparingly and fits the tone well. Instead of dominating the experience, it supports the atmosphere and allows silence to play an important role. The game also has its flaws. After some time, levels can start to feel repetitive, and searching for switches can slow down the pacing. There are also moments where the difficulty spikes suddenly, which can feel frustrating. From today's perspective, the most noticeable issues are the controls and overall flow of gameplay. It is clearly a product of its time. At release, the game was generally well received. Critics praised its atmosphere, sound design, and the fact that, as a movie-based game, it delivered a solid overall experience. At the same time, some pointed out that it did not match the most advanced shooters of the time in terms of mechanics. Even so, it was considered one of the better games set in the Alien universe. Today, Alien Trilogy is not seen as a groundbreaking title, but it still holds its place in gaming history. It shows how a well-known license can be used to build a cohesive and engaging experience. If you enjoy retro shooters or the Alien universe, it is definitely worth trying. For others, it may feel more like a curiosity than a game to return to regularly. Alien Trilogy is a game that did not redefine the genre, but it made strong use of its biggest strengths, especially atmosphere and tension. If you want to see more games in chronological PC release order, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next episode of Gaming Time Machine. Thanks for watching.